Without a doubt, one of the biggest and most anticipated titles on the 2026 calendar is Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I'm just as excited for this game as anyone, which is why when we got that new trailer earlier this week, I devoured it immediately. And while I found myself impressed with the trailer's overall quality and the signature Resident Evil creepiness that it conveyed, it also made me feel that much like the reveal footage we got a couple months ago, there is a lot that these trailers are not showing us. It seems like Capcom is very much keeping its cards close to the chest when it comes to this game, and while overall I think that's a good thing, it's also got me wondering, what is Resident Evil 9 hiding? What huge surprises and revelations are going to be awaiting us when we finally get our hands on this game next February? Well, let's do some speculating. So I think that one of the things that stands out to me the most about these first two trailers is just how intimate they feel. Both are very much centered around the main character Grace Ashcroft and the horrors that she will personally be experiencing in the game. The first trailer introduces us to her at her FBI job, where we learn that she has to return to the hotel where her mom was murdered years prior. The second trailer takes us even further down this road as we get to actually see that horrific night at the hotel from Grace's perspective. Now, like I said earlier, I think both of these trailers are incredibly well done. The unsettling atmosphere and tension that they both convey are off the charts, and they both leave you desperately wanting to see more. However, both of them feel somewhat small and personal. Everything is from the perspective of one character, and both trailers seem to primarily take place in small set pieces. This being true of the second trailer in particular, where we don't see anything outside of that unsettling hotel scene. This is what leads me to believe that these trailers are really holding back on us. I think that Capcom is only showing us a sliver of what we're going to be experiencing from a gameplay perspective here. While the RE series has done more intimate games before, Resident Evil 7 takes place almost entirely in one house, I don't think we're in for that kind of experience with Resident Evil 9. In fact, I remember it was about a year ago that the internet was ablaze with all sorts of rumors about the next RE game being an open world title. I'm not entirely convinced that's the case here, but I do think that this is going to be a big game with a scale much larger than what these trailers have showcased. While it's true that RE7 very much leaned into the pure horror side of the franchise, the last installment we got in the series, Resident Evil 8 Village, swung the pendulum much more towards the action side of the franchise. Sure, there were still plenty of creepy and unsettling moments in Village, but Ethan Winters was also basically an unstoppable action hero in that game, capable of enduring tremendous punishment and kicking all sorts of ass. Resident Evil Village had huge set pieces, goofy characters, and guns and ammo aplenty. A pretty big change up from its predecessor. As RE7 and RE8 perfectly illustrate, the Resident Evil series is basically in a state of constant push and pull between its horror side and more goofy, over-the-top action side. And my prediction for RE9, the big hook that they're not showing us in these trailers, is that this title is going to attempt to blend these two sides with two different characters and two different campaigns. As we've seen in the trailers so far, Grace will represent that first horror side of the game. She's a brand new protagonist, unfamiliar with a lot of the batshit horrors that longtime fans of the series are aware of, so she's perfect for this. She's an FBI analyst, not some seasoned killer or action hero, so assumingly her sequences will lean more towards hiding, sneaking, making use of limited resources, and just surviving the horrors that she'll be facing. For fans of the heart-pounding, sweat-inducing sequences found in RE7, this will be perfect. But then at the same time, I'm guessing we have the second side of the game that we haven't seen at all yet, and hell, might not ever see before release. I bet this side of the game follows a second playable character, probably a series favorite like Chris Redfield, or my personal preference, Leon Kennedy, as they kick ass and mow down enemies with a ridiculous arsenal of weapons and a variety of over-the-top set pieces. This blending of two different sides of the franchise is being illustrated in other ways in RE9 as well. It's already been shown that this will be the first game in the series to allow the player to switch back and forth between first and third person views at any given time. A truly bold and exciting step for the series, as similarly to the horror versus action conversation that I just mentioned, Resident Evil has also been split between first and third person games in recent years, with devoted fans on both sides of the aisle. Bringing the two different camera perspectives together in one game for the first time in franchise history gives me even more reason to believe that Capcom will be doing the same thing with the tone of the game. and there's very likely a big and bombastic action side of RE9 that we've yet to see. This theory is also supported by some of Capcom's other recent marquee games. The two biggest releases from Capcom in the last couple of years have been Monster Hunter Wilds and Dragon's Dogma 2. Both of these were huge games with vast open or semi-open worlds to explore, much bigger than what was seen in their predecessors. While this in no way indicates that Resident Evil 9 will be open world, it does lead me to believe that, like I said earlier, it's going to be a huge game. After all, Capcom is clearly operating under a bigger is better mantra with their major franchises recently, and it would certainly be an odd pivot for them to scale down their biggest franchise of all in its next installment. Anyway, I know this video was a bit rambly, and those of you who are super clued into Capcom leaks and rumors might think that half of what I said has already been proved or disproved or whatever, but I just wanted to hop on and spill some of my thoughts on what we've seen of RE9 thus far, because like I said, I cannot wait for this game. I think what the trailers have shown so far looks fantastic, but I also think that it's just the tip of the iceberg. RE9 is going to have a lot of surprises in store for us, and fortunately, we're only about 6 months away from seeing them for ourselves. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below though. Are you as excited for RE9 as I am? What surprises do you think the game has waiting for us? And of course, as always, thanks for watching.